Welcome everybody to the Pirate Skills Meetup, this time on August 5th about scoring leads like a pirate. As always, you can get all the resources at getpirateskills.com/lead scoring. The downloads, the videos, the slides, everything is there. And today we are going to tackle 4 topics and then have a Q&A. The first one is like how to save time and money with lead scoring. I never do anything that isn't useful, that is just fun because it's technically interesting. Yes, sometimes I do it for myself, but when it's a business, in a business context, it needs to have some benefits, and lead scoring definitely saves time and money. But then the question becomes like, okay, but how do we measure the quality of leads? Do we give points? Do we put them in categories? I'm going to show you my best practices that have worked for me so far. Then we talk about the handover from nurturing leads to actually doing active sales, so approaching people, and what you should consider before you actually start approaching a B2B lead or a high value B2C lead, and when you should just keep nurturing the people. That's what we talk about in that section. And then lead scoring in practice. Yeah, I'm going to just throw you into my own lead scoring system, an ActiveCampaign, and show you my rules that I use to give points and the automations I use to put them into sales pipelines. Yeah, and at the end, as always, we have the big Q&A. That sounds good? Then stick around. So for the people who are new here, I'm Ben. I'm the founder of Pirate Skills. I'm just a founder that started in 2008 and couldn't stop, and just found my passion in growth marketing, which I consider to be like a mixture of like business, data science, psychology. I just love that triangle and everything that comes in between there. So I started Pirate Skills as a community to have people to talk to, to nerd out about. And since you guys are here, please feel free to always join and ask questions and to make suggestions. I highly appreciate the interaction. This is the whole reason why I'm doing this. And for everybody who was wondering what's up with my iMac, because Apple just released the new iMac 27-inch, but it's so dang boring, the upgrade. So I skipped on that, and we are now streaming from a Windows PC. Yes, people, I went to Windows again. I don't know what happened, but so far it's really nice. I can now finally record in 4K, stream in 1080p. Everything looks nice, no trouble, no battery drainage like in the last meetup. So that happened, and I always like to share like a little fun thing that happened in my real world. Cool. So let's talk about saving time and money with lead scoring. For a lot of us, these are the most critical components that we have in our business or resources. We either have more time or more money. Usually in the startup stage, pre-funding, we have more time, and we can invest our time in order to get traffic, to close people, to build our product. But later our time becomes more scarce and scarce and scarce, and we have more money than time. And then we can put money into advertising, we can hire people, all that kind of stuff. And I want to show you how lead scoring does that for you. And I've got a little scenario for you in mind and a case study prepared. So let's imagine we are all in a sales competition. We get a list of 100 leads. And the goal is to generate as much revenue as possible within a couple of weeks. Yeah, it doesn't need to be too precise. So you have this list of more leads than you could ever handle in the given time. How would you go about it? How would you approach it? Let's make it a bit more concrete. Let's say you are in a business like Monday Rocks, who have been the primary case study for the past 4 meetups. So if you want to go back and see the original growth strategy and how that developed, you should start with building a solid growth strategy meetup video. So what are they? They are an app for successful teamwork, for team building, for team leaders and HR managers. And they are a high ticket B2B case, but also with the software attached to it. They have an app called Team Analytics, which goes from up to from 400 euro and above. They have very high customer lifetime value. They are targeting HR people and team leaders, and they want to become stronger in their inbound game. And I guess that is what most of you are here for as well. You have a business, maybe a high value B2C or a B2B business, and you want to see what can I do in order to really focus on the right people. Yeah. And now in this case, we get this list of 100 leads in our sales competition. Now the question becomes, are you just going to contact everybody in the list from A to Z? Is that your thing? Don't you want to think about like maybe a system on how to prioritize them? I guess that's the obvious thing to do. To really sort them first and decide what is the biggest opportunity and start attacking the most promising leads first. Yes, maybe you want to do a couple of warm-up leads in the beginning, which you just want to do to train and to not burn anybody. But then very quickly you want to start with the most promising leads first. But how do you know what the most promising leads are? That is what we discuss with lead scoring. And this is like, just imagine you could give everybody a number between like 0 and 100, and 100 is an extremely high conversion probability and 0 is no chance in hell. Yeah, so the 87 lead that we see here on the screen, that is already an extremely high potential lead that you definitely want to put some effort into. It's simply, lead scoring is a way to prioritize the list of leads that you already have. For example, here with Pirate Skills, usually more than 100 people register for an event. And of course, I'm looking at the list of people who registered, and I'm thinking like, oh, who would be a good match? And there are some people where I say, okay, they're just here. They're on their own track to building their startup. They're very early stage. It's fine. Let them just take up and let this be a community effort. But then there are funded startups or corporate innovation labs that want to learn this, that actually are looking for a relationship, and I'm going to focus on that. So, but how do I put real numbers to it? How do I make a system out of it? That's what today is about. So in lead scoring, you usually have like levels of leads. You decide what your levels of leads are, but these are very prototypical ones. So let's stick with this imaginary scale from 0 to 100. Remember, people can easily go beyond 100 and below 0 if you also deduct points for wrong behavior. But let's just keep it simple. Think about 0 is really bad and 100 is just awesome. If you get a list somewhere from the interwebs, or you get your 100 people list in the sales competition, they are just prospects. They maybe get 10 points because they are on the list. Somebody who created that list thought about it, but you don't have much more information about them. So you start interacting with that list, maybe send them emails, maybe advertise towards them, maybe call them. So at some point, you will consider them to be a serious lead. They are engaged, they react, they don't hang up when you call, they're interested. And at some point you will say, oh, they engaged, and they also made a request to have an appointment to get a sales demo. And this is when marketing would say, look, we got a marketing qualified lead. It's a so-called MQL. And we give this 75 points, and this is usually the handover to sales. Now, a salesperson looks at the lead, decides this is crap. Then it gets thrown out, it gets back into the nurturing system. Or the salesperson says, oh, this looks interesting. I think we have interesting previous relationships that we can build on and a nice warm introduction. Let's take this lead seriously. And now it's an SQL, it's in sales qualified leads. And there are always like differences in opinion between sales and marketing and what a good lead consists. Sales is usually bitching about marketing just sending them bad leads, and marketing is bitching about sales not being able to close the leads. But this is old school thinking. We have to integrate those two functions in a very smooth way. We want to give sales as much information as possible from the previous marketing journey. And we want to give marketing the feedback from sales, which kind of leads have worked and which didn't. And this is where we can really get this nice and aligned. So the benefits of lead scoring and what you should focus on is really to nurture the right leads at the right time, to not get in touch too early and not too late. It is an incredible tool to focus your time on the engaged leads and to stop wasting the time from your salespeople. Salespeople are very expensive. Yeah, you usually here in Germany, I would expect to pay somebody at least upwards of 3,000 euros per month plus a commission to get a good sales guy. And you need to focus their time. If you just give them 1,000 leads to call in a week, it's not going to work. Just give them the ones that are most promising, preferably with a number beside it, like a lead score that tells them, dude, at least take a look at those specifically. Then leave them in peace and let them do and follow their own sales intuition. And at the end, of course, we want to maximize our revenue potential. We always have, if you do advertising, you get always a pretty constant number of leads into your system, but the time to go after those leads is limited. And you want to maximize your revenue potential by focusing on the people that you can really help. Yeah, it's a win-win situation for both sides. If you do something like lead scoring, it actually helps the people that you want to close, and it helps you to stay away from the people who are just not ready yet to be closed. So that's in a nutshell what lead scoring helps you to do. Yeah, it's the why I'm even talking about this. And in the next video, we want to talk about measuring the quality of those leads. What kinds of behavior and attributes of leads that now are in your CRM because they filled out a form. Like, how do we score them? Yeah, and that's what we are going to do next. So I would really appreciate if you watched this on YouTube and also left a like and a subscribe to the channel. Maybe we just went past the 400 mark, and I'm super proud of that. And I really would love for you to become part of this tribe. You also can always ask your questions at slido.com. Let's take a little look at Slido if some of you have already asked questions and voted them up. If not, just go to slido.com and enter the code R, and you will see this wonderful list over here. Yeah, we see that 2 people already upvoted the question, does lead scoring only make sense for B2B or also for B2C businesses? Of course, I'm going to discuss this in detail later, but it absolutely makes sense for B2C businesses too, especially if you are building a long-term relationship with your customer. If you just have a one-time, very cheap transaction, let's say you sell a widget on Amazon for 10 bucks, lead scoring is overkill. But if you are selling professional services, like fitness training or anything like that, where you build a longer relationship and you have multiple €100 of customer lifetime value potential, then lead scoring is wonderful for B2C as well. But it is a typical technique from the B2B world. Yeah, but I'm agnostic. I use everything everywhere as long as it's worth the time that you have to put in to build that system. And we already got one new question. Awesome. And we're going to answer all of them. So please start voting up those questions and to add new ones. We usually have like 20 questions at the end. And you want to upvote the ones that are most meaningful to you. Cool. Let's go back. So the second part that we want to talk about today. So measuring the quality of leads. Measuring the quality of leads is such an important thing. When you start lead scoring, you have to consider what is a good behavior, what is a bad behavior of a lead that is coming in. So you can really focus on the ones that are showing the behaviors that are highly correlated with actual sales at the end and with happy customers. So let's look into that. So the first question I want to ask you, and that you can write in the comments or in Discord, is how does the perfect lead look like for you? What would a perfect 100 look like? For me, for Pirate Skills, it's, for example, it's being contacted by a founder that has a junior marketing team. They are making maybe upwards of 200,000 euro per year. They have done good organic marketing. They have a product that goes off the shelves, maybe sells 1 to 10 units per day. And now they want to grow really strong. They are ambitious. They want to get to 100 sales, 1,000 sales per day. This is my perfect dream 100 lead. Yeah? So think about what makes that lead so awesome. And let me just give you some categories that I usually like to think in when I try to do that. To make it more concrete, let's think about it in the context of our case study, Monday Rocks, the app for successful teamwork. So a B2B app, yearly purchase or one-time purchase around 400 euro with a high customer lifetime value consulting upsell potential. So what would be important for them? What are the perfect Monday Rock leads doing? They are surfing on the website. They're checking them out on LinkedIn. They're sending messages. They want to reach out. They sign up for the free app. They watch the videos on the different social media channels. Those are the kinds of behaviors we're looking for. And then you want to give these kinds of behaviors points. These are the actual points that I would consider giving here. Again, the lead scoring here with this example is on a popular yet arbitrary scale of 0 to 100, 0 being completely no chance of being sold ever. 100 is extremely likely that they want to become a customer and are able to. So now the first element here in the behavior, what people are doing, is email activity. There are lots of people on email lists, but they don't open emails. They don't click on the call to actions. If they click on call to actions, they don't convert afterwards. So email activity is even in itself a broad area. On which email list are they? How likely are they to open your mail? Did they open specific sales mails that you are interested in? Did they look at the document that you sent with them? So email activity is a highly measurable behavior that you should definitely consider as a factor in your lead scoring. So, and then, did they visit your website? Maybe a website visit is not valuable as much as email activity. So usually people first have to visit the website, maybe download a lead magnet, and then have some kind of email activity. So I give less points for just visiting websites than email activity. But what if you would weigh, this is a very simplified example, of course, yeah? What if you weigh the pricing page higher than the normal homepage? That would make much sense. What if you would score it higher if people spend longer time on the pricing page, or if they interacted with the chat widget on the site and asked specific questions, or if they downloaded an offer that you had as a PDF on your website? So all of those behaviors could increase them. So let's look at 2 to 3 typical behaviors on websites that people can show. The contact request is what most of us have on our website. In some way or form, in our About Us section or Contact Us section, we give people the opportunity through a contact form to get in touch with us, right? That is very typical on most websites today. They are more or less pretty, yeah, but it is a decent way for people to do it. It's a bit old school, but hey, yeah, that's the way it used to be. But if people actually jump through the hoop of filling out a form and sending it out, it's worth a lot. Yeah, it gets them 15 points on a scale from 0 to 100. And it's even more valuable if they just download something. If I give them a nice goodie, like a poster, an ebook, something like that, and they download that, of course, and they give me their contact data, of course. that gives them 10 points as well, but it's worth less than if they proactively get in touch with you. We still don't know what kind of message they sent, but even that they went through the effort of doing it is a good sign. And then maybe you have an event like a webinar here, like this, the live stream, or a real offline event or a product demo, and people register for this event or actually show up, which would be even more valuable than registering. But registering is very easy to track. Showing up is not easy to track. That gets them even more points. Let's put 25 points in that direction. So those are 5 categories and pretty prototypical points that I would give that I think most of you can apply in your business. If you have a B2B business. If you are more in B2C, think about it in who is just visiting your website, who is watching at the product detail page, who's adding something to the cart, who's entering the checkout, who's getting to payment and shipping and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and who's actually being ready to purchase at the end. This is what the lead scoring would primarily focus on in a B2C scenario. Cool. So this is one half of the lead score, the behavior that people are showing. The other half is, for me, the attributes of the perfect lead. So let's look at Monday Rocks. As an example, what is a perfect lead for Monday Rocks? A person who has a team leadership position, or an HR manager, or a CEO of a company who wants to improve the team culture and the team organization. That would be perfect in terms of position in the company. But what about company size? What about number of employees or team size? Those could all be aspects that make that lead perfect. So what does it do for you? What kind of attributes does a perfect lead have in your business? Just leave a comment and we can discuss it. So let's do the same thing as with the behavior and look at 5 things that are very regularly used as attributes for lead scoring. I remember a fun website from Linux, and they have one of the best lead nurturing sourcing mechanisms I've seen. So if you go to Linux, leanix.net, maybe my bro can just put this here in this beautiful area and leave the URL for the people who are watching this after the live stream. They used to have awesome posters that you can download, like for enterprise architects, and they ask like for name, company, phone number, email, and they just had like one drop-down menu which says like, do you have more than $1 billion of revenue or less than $1 billion of revenue? That was their annual revenue thing, and I always thought it was quite fun. It's not on there anymore, but it must have worked for them somehow because they are growing really, really great. So then what kind of job title do they have? I mentioned for the Monday Rocks example, the CEO, the HR manager, the team leader. What kind of job titles would you be hunting for on LinkedIn, which we discussed in the last meetup? And what would you like to see when somebody submits a form, and tells you, oh yeah, I'm a CEO. So then the ability to decide, of course, this is sometimes hard to judge, but if sometimes the lead scoring goes hand in hand with actually talking to people and chatting with them. Let's say you're just chatting with them on LinkedIn, you ask them, hey, are we able to make that decision? Or do we need to bring somebody in? And they say, no, it's fine, I can make the decision. That's worth 20 points to me. That is an incredibly important attribute of a lead, their ability to decide. If they're not able to decide, I need to broaden the account, from this one lead to think about multiple leads within one account, one company, or one department within a larger company. Then, do they have the budget necessary to do a project with you? That gets 10 points. And then, do they need the solution? I think this is the big killer one, and this is what oftentimes only the salespeople will find out. how big is the urgent need to get that problem fixed, hopefully with your solution. If people are really not committed to changing, then it's going to be a very tough sell. But if they are under pressure to perform, then you have a much better position. And there are leads who are this way and leads that are that way. So focus on the ones that really have a high need. And again, this is just an example list with example points, which I think are very sensible, but please adjust them to your business and make them yours. So again, this was maybe detailed, and it's useful to download the slides. You can download them already right now during the live stream. Go to getpirateskids.com/lead-scoring, and you can unload the slides. It's a completely free registration. You can also get all the past videos and slides from the past 2 years, which I hope is a really valuable resource for you guys. So if that was useful so far, I would really appreciate if you would leave a like and maybe a sub on the channel, which we just burst through the 400 subscribers, and I would love to see like 420 subscribers at the end of this live stream. That would be fucking awesome. So that sums up the measuring the quality of the leads. Look at behavior, look at attributes, give them numbers on a scale. I like to use 0 to 100 because for me, it's always probability to convert to a customer, and 100 is 100% probability to convert. And start making it measurable, but make it absolutely yours. What are the behaviors in the past that have correlated? What are the attributes from the past that have correlated? And then the next part in the next video is going to be about handing those leads over to sales or to keep nurturing them. Keep on watching. So again, we have lots of new questions coming in and votes. Let me show you. We need a lot more questions here. So feel free to go to slido.com, enter the code R, and keep upvoting questions. And we need definitely more questions for a great Q&A. Make this meetup your thing. Yeah, so just keep them coming. Cool. All right. Again, at the end of the meetup, we will also hang out in the Discord community. So if you want to join the people who are usually here at Startplatz in Cologne at the live stream, you can just now meet them at the Discord community. It would be awesome to have you there. So next part. Nurturing leads versus active sales. There is always a challenge and a question in marketing. When should you keep nurturing the people in the funnel? Yeah, give them more value. And when should you start closing them? When are they ready? It might go hand in hand. People might ping pong between those two states. But I have an opinion on that, and I think it's important to consider this as well for your business. So let's look into that. So when should you keep on nurturing your leads? We got this funnel symbol that usually signifies in growth marketing that we want to get a lot of people interested and aware of our business and product and solutions. Then we want to help people through the funnel to get to know us, to build trust, and to actually find out that there's a great product fit with them and to help them to become customers. Typical mistakes that I see in lead scoring and sales, that the approach, the active sales approach, is started before there is enough information. You don't know if the person is ready. If you don't have enough information and you have still too many leads, avoid the leads that with just little information. If you just have very few leads coming in and you have more time, of course, hunt every single lead, no problem. But in our case, we assume that you get a list of leads that is longer than you can do. Otherwise, what's the point of lead scoring? You're going to call everybody anyways. Yeah. So we assume that you have some people with more and less information. So take the time to gather that information. Make that part of your email automation and lead nurturing process. And if you notice they don't have the budget yet, or it's a bad time in the year, just keep nurturing them. I have customers now that have joined this community 4 years ago. Yeah, or that I maybe did 6 years ago a presentation in Stuttgart, for example. People are still now coming from Stuttgart from a couple of presentations I did there in some events that Daniel Bartel hosted or co-hosted, which I'm extremely thankful for, Daniel. But I couldn't have guessed that, but I never pressured anybody. If they see it's a bad time, it's not the right budget cycle, or it's not urgent at the moment, I try to stay away and just keep on nurturing, just keep on providing value, give. This is the perfect time to just focus on giving and not asking. And if you notice, yeah, our product is not the best solution for that problem. And you don't want to just kick them out of the list and tell them, dude, we're not going to do this, because your product might change, the customer might change. It's a bad fit now, but what about in a couple of months? That might really change. But you don't want to approach customers with a bad solution fit with sales. It frustrates sales, it frustrates the customer, it gives you bad reviews and a bad reputation. Yeah, so try to avoid that. In general, you see that those people have a low lead score, and if you have too many leads, try to avoid them with a low lead score, and always think about it's just yet. It's not yet high. Yeah, give it some time. So on the other hand, when should you start to approach that lead? Especially in the startup world, there is this, I don't know, it's like people are avoiding sales like the plague. They wish everything would just go through inbound funnels and people would just sign up and check out their credit card, and that is it. And they see big software as a service companies that have made that model popular. Yeah, like an Asana, like a Basecamp, where you just pay with a credit card on a per seat basis. But on the other hand, if you look at all of the really big software companies, especially from the US, like an Oracle, like an SAP, like a Salesforce, they all have an extremely strong and competent team of salespeople. And of course, they have good inbound marketing, but there has to be a point in B2B usually, or with high ticket B2C, where you need to talk to the persons. In Germany, I would say it is really hard to sell something B2C or B2B wise above 1,000 euro if you don't give them an opportunity to talk to you. And at that point, you essentially have a salesperson. You can call them success coaches or customer success people. At the end, their job is to convert people to customers. So in the case of Monday Rocks, the app for successful team management, what are signals, concrete signals for the salespeople to start approaching them? First of all, if they show high activity on the website and the email newsletter, this is always an indicator. Oh, I should start thinking, is that person maybe a good fit? But I need to make that visible, and this is what the lead score really helps with. If they have a full user profile, and lots of apps, for example, or services where you need to register, you have a user profile, and if in a freemium model, and if they really took the time to fill out the complete profile, that is usually an indicator for me to see, like, oh, okay, maybe he's ready to do some more commitment. If they in any form express direct interest, if they send you a chat message, if they send you an email, they now need to become absolute high priority leads. But I think that is obvious, but I observe myself how I'm not always perfect at following up with people who regularly get in touch with me. And I see that in other teams as well. So don't let those awesome opportunities of people contacting you get past. Then strong solution fit. If you get this gut feeling as a salesperson, man, we could really help those people with our product. Yeah, and that is strong solution fit. And that usually results in a pretty high lead score. So take that as the starting points to then go from just lead nurturing them and providing value to now asking, hey, do you want to work together? And getting over this issue of maybe not liking to do sales. It absolutely, if you do good sales, it's really hard to die as a startup. You can keep your startup going indefinitely with most products randomly if you're good at sales. It's a not nice truth, but it's something that I've observed again and again and again. Cool. So that now we looked at how lead scoring saves you time and money, how to measure them, and when you want to start thinking about keeping them in the nurturing pipeline and when you want to start approaching them. And usually you decide on a specific lead score. For me, it's a 75. When they go above 75, I will put them into the active sales pipeline. And that leaves us to the fourth part before the Q&A, where we look at a very practical example on how to do lead scoring. So let's take a look at that in the next video. Again, you can ask your questions at slido.com and enter the code R. We now got nice 7 questions. Excellent. Thank you everybody for adding additional questions. That's a good baseline to start from. But we are still looking for more questions, and we would really like you to upvote the questions that are most important to you so we can answer them first. Nice. So last pitch. Guys, if you want to do me a personal favor, go hit the subscribe button on YouTube and leave a like there. There is no channel that I'm so excited about tackling and managing at the moment as YouTube, and I think we need to get over the first 500 to 1,000 subscribers to really get the ball rolling. We are now growing at about 50 to 60 subscribers every month, and we want to keep that speed going, and you could really support us by hitting that sub button. Thanks so much for that. Cool. So the very last part is the lead scoring in practice section, where we look at the pirate skills setup in ActiveCampaign, and let's go straight into it. So the first question is, what's the CRM of choice for lead scoring? So what's a CRM? Just a quick, it's a customer relationship management software. We talked about it a ton in the growth marketing tech stack meetup. Just a couple of meetups ago, we did a whole meetup about just tools and what kind of CRMs and analytics softwares can work for you. So let's look at the CRMs in terms of lead scoring. So my favorite is ActiveCampaign at the moment. I think ActiveCampaign is in a nice sweet spot if you have high value B2C clients. Yeah, what does high value mean? In that scenario, I would say with a customer lifetime value above 100 euro. Then ActiveCampaign is relevant for B2C, but the B2B game is so on point. You really notice that they are not MailChimp. MailChimp is an email tool that started to be abused as a CRM. Yeah, I for just B2C e-commerce, I love MailChimp. Don't think I don't like it. But for lead scoring, it's bad for me. And then there are big hitters like HubSpot, who have a great lead scoring system. Agile CRM has one, and Zoho, and of course Salesforce. But there are so many, and lead scoring has become such an integral part of most B2B CRMs that you can do it with probably what you already have. Yeah, but for many reasons, I'm extremely happy with ActiveCampaign. I've used probably 8 different CRMs in the past 10 years, and you are usually just frustrated with the system you have. You just live with the least worst one, and I don't know, I'm actually happy. So let's look at my ActiveCampaign here. You can see my dashboard. You see I got 3,000 contacts in there. So it's a small but awesome group of people who are interested. And I can see the automations I have on the right hand side here. You can see on the left hand side, you can see the navigation, that you can see all of your contacts, your campaigns, your automations, your deals. ActiveCampaign is extremely sales savvy, and I really love that about it. You can manage lists and put forms on websites and get great reports. So let's go one step deeper. Last time, in the last meetup, we talked about the deal pipeline. We talked about how to grow your network on LinkedIn and how to get those leads into your CRM. And I showed you this screenshot from my own deal pipeline. You essentially want to have a nice list of people who are in several states in the customer journey, which of course can be also thought about in what kind of lead score they have. The people to be contacted are maybe the people like a 20 to 40 lead score. The high potentials are 40 to 60. Then in contacts, 60 to 80. Hot leads, 80 to 100. And the pipeline keeps on going with the offer being created and all the juice. So let's simplify that a little bit and look just at what I would create in your case. I would create a sales pipeline. We just say like every 20 points, there's a different class of leads. Now we get 5 classes from 21 to 40. Why not 0 to 20? Because I would just let those leads nurture before you put them in a deal pipeline. If you go below 20, pretty much everybody lands in your deal pipeline, and then you get a bloated deal pipeline, and that's super annoying. So start at some point, maybe 20, maybe 40 leads, and then you create a deal for the people. And in ActiveCampaign, you can completely automate all of that. So imagine just people becoming more and more valuable and moving from left to right. At the beginning, they have just visited your website. In the middle, they have downloaded something and are receiving emails and opening them. On the right-hand side, you start talking to them and they're engaged and they're interested. Beyond 100, they are customers. And this is another concept that I don't see that often done in other businesses. Most people stop with them becoming customers. I don't. I keep on adding points because I think it's much easier to keep your current customers and to make them happy and to focus on loyalty of your current customer base than to keep on recruiting new people because your old customers don't like you anymore. So this is why I just keep on scoring. So then the next level is, in order to create this kind of pipeline, is that you need to set up your scoring in your CRM on ActiveCampaign. It's here in the contact section. If you go to manage score, you can see a list of rules that you can create. Usually you don't have any rules in there until you create one, and where you can decide what kind of activities, so behaviors and attributes have how many points. And you can see that I've created 5 clusters of scores that I can use in my lead scoring with ActiveCampaign for pirate skills. The main one is just called lead score. I have a separate one for the email activity, for event activity, for the learn management system, and for something very neat that I showed in the email automation tools, the Zapier lead score. It's a free lead scoring service based on Matt Kudu, which is usually a very expensive tool, but it's only working for big companies. It's not working for the small ones so well. So I'm going to show you what the main lead score is consisting of and what kind of rules I'm implementing. So let's zoom into the lead score. Into the lead score rules. If you just click on edit, you get to the screen. And here you can now see all of the rules that I've set up and the corresponding points. Let's just go through them. So if somebody has the tag that contains the word meetup, it gets 20 points. When a person registers for a meetup and allows me to put them in the CRM, I give them 20 points if they come to a meetup or register for a live stream. I think it's much more likely to convert a person who has been in touch with me before in the real world or through the live stream than somebody who has never heard of that, who didn't make the commitment like you guys who are watching this. Then the next one, what if he went to an actual workshop? Per definition, workshops cost 3,000 euro in a bundle, or in a single workshop 750 euro. They are a customer. If they register for a workshop, they have paid for it. So they get 100 points to immediately get them above the 100-point mark, which is usually for me the sign they are customers or they are very nearly customers. So as I said before, I score beyond 100 and beyond them just becoming customers. So them buying a workshop ticket gets them 100 points immediately. So next one, has opened any email, 3 points. Has clicked on any link, 7 points. Yes, you could make this more sophisticated with different campaigns that are rolling out, and depending on which campaigns, what they opened, yada, yada, yada. I try to keep it simple. Yeah, in this case, we got 3 points for opening, 7 points for clicking. So I give the email activity section a maximum of 10 points. And what you have to understand is that each rule is only triggered once in a lifetime of a lead. You can let it decay over a certain period of time, so it goes back to 0. But you don't want every time a person opens an email to give them 3 points. Yeah, that would just inflate incredibly fast, especially for the old leads that are just not active. So this is why I decided to do it this way. Then the next one, student has the role student. Teachable role is student. So in my learn management system on pirateskills.com, which is built on Teachable, and it's now being moved to WordPress Landash, if a person has not only taken the time to watch this live stream, but they actually went to pirateskills.com to download the slides and they registered as a student and they discovered all of the other ones, this is even more valuable than them just coming to the event. But a person like you guys who are watching here, who are coming to this event, who get the meetup tag and who register on Teachable, now you got 50 points. You are well on your way to becoming a dedicated participant in this community, and you might eventually be a good fit to working together. Maybe. Yeah, no pressure. So then I talked about this lead score system from Madkudu that is available for free through Zapier. And it gives points also on a scale from 0 to 100. And if a person has more than 50 points on that scale, they get 15 points in my scale. If they are beyond 75, they get another 15 points on that scale. And if the Zapier lead score tells me that the company raised some money, it gets another 15 points. So a total potential of 45 points through that data source of Zapier lead scoring. Maybe it's a bit much, especially because most people went through the meetup and then get this kind of score and might add up too high too quickly. And I will have to adjust if that is the case. If it's not the case and the best people usually end up at 100, it's fine. If they regularly go to 200, I need to start lowering the points. If awesome people are always just barely scratching 50, then I need to increase those points. I think this is a nice, simple system to get you started in with lead scoring. And this is the way I have set it up right now for Pirate Skills. So then, of course, there is some additional magic that you can do. You don't have to do it. You can do all of this lead scoring manually, but I prefer to give some automation magic to it. Those scores that you manage in ActiveCampaign become active at the moment that you set them up. It doesn't go to the past. It only looks forward. And if people start acting that way now, then they get the points, not for the past activity. So what you can do here in ActiveCampaign is use automations in order to put them in your sales pipeline. Yeah, I showed you the sales pipeline. I want to fill that up. And based on the lead score that they currently have, they get assigned to a specific column in that sales pipeline. And this is, I just wanted to show you the screenshot on how this works. If I just go to the next slide, you see the lower part of it. I only start that automation when you have a score of higher than 20. I told you about that I don't want my pipeline to be full of hundreds of people that are unqualified. I want to start at 20 and then keep watching that pipeline and see if it's true that the people on the right hand side are more likely to convert than the ones on the right hand side. So this is where they end up at the end. This is the ideal version. You saw mine from the very beginning with the scratch through names, but this is the idealized version with the people with a lead score of 20 on the left hand side, above 100 on the right hand side, and everybody else in between. And the automation I showed you that you can just copy if you download the slides are the exact rules that you need for this to happen automatically. And imagine you're a sales guy and you get this pipeline. Yeah, I'm always thinking about the case study Monday Rocks. If we could just give them such a view and they just call people from right to left. Start with the most engaged people, the most likely ones, and just keep on calling until you're on the left-hand side. That would be such an amazing setup, and that I'm super excited to build for anybody who likes it. So this is how this looks like for me. On the left-hand side are the potentials. On the right-hand side are the ones that I'm really looking forward to close. And you can customize the name and what kind of products they're interested in and what their score is. And you don't have to call the columns by the lead score. Yeah, you can call them whatever you like I did here. So that is the ActiveCampaign deal pipeline. Now I guess you see why I like ActiveCampaign so much. Yeah, and if you like this, leave a sub and a like on our YouTube channel. That would be amazing. And you can see all of the past videos there with no need to subscribe to anything whatsoever. So let's sum up. Yeah, we have looked at why lead scoring is awesome, why it saves you time and money. We looked at how to measure it and when you should just keep on nurturing and when you should start selling. And the last video was how to put this into practice, specifically with one tool, in my case, ActiveCampaign. And now we are opening up the Q&A. We have got 8 questions. Looking for you to see you in that part. So let's start with the lead scoring Q&A session. Let's open this up. So in case, oh yeah, we still have to start the feedback survey. We usually start the meetups with a feedback. Let's see, is it ready? Do we have a feedback juju thing? How do I start it? I don't even know. In the ideas section, I just start the topic. How would we improve? No, I mean the scoring from 1 to 10, the NPS score. Do we have that set up? Otherwise, I can start somewhere else. So let's start with the ideas section. So if you go to slido.com right now and enter the code R, you can put in ideas for improving this meetup experience right now. We would really love to hear any kind of constructive criticism on how we can make this better for you. For example, I'm very interested. We're now streaming in 16:9, not in 2:1 anymore. Do you still like that? Is it okay that I'm just on this side of the screen? Yeah. So do you have any suggestions about the content? So put any of your ideas in there. We will keep this going. keep this open and we're gonna start the poll for the feedback right now. So another question I have for you is, how likely would you recommend this event to a friend or colleague? Yeah, this is a very typical MPS question. So everybody who's still watching, please head over to slido.com, put in the code R and just give us some basic feedback on how you like it. 10 is I'm extremely likely to recommend this. 0 is nope. Or 1 is nope, I'm not going to recommend this. So keep on putting your feedback in here. You can see it coming in live. Thank you very much for the feedback. And you can switch back to that section. But let's look at the questions that you wanted to ask. Cool. So the first and most upvoted question is, which CRMs are good for lead scoring? So we already started answering that question a little bit. My favorite one by far is ActiveCampaign. I also very much like the scoring setup that HubSpot is providing. I think that even in the free version of HubSpot, in the HubSpot CRM, that the lead scoring is included and is free. So check that out. That is very interesting. So, and another one I liked using was the Agile CRM and the lead scoring that was implemented there. So these are fine. Ones I would stay away from for lead scoring is probably MailChimp. If you do some magic, it still works, but it's a hassle. Yeah. So, and what should I do? Just move a little bit. Cool. So I think that answers the question, and I would like everybody to keep on suggesting more CRMs, especially on Discord. This is the place where we can discuss, where you can give your own input to this. And what kind of CRMs do you have a lot of success with? Yeah, you heard my opinion on this. So 7 more questions left. Does lead scoring only make sense for B2B or also for B2C business? I don't even think about anymore about B2C and B2B. It's because the marketing approach has become so similar, and it's, for me, in my mind, it's just about customer lifetime value. Above a certain threshold of potential revenue from your average customer, you can just act like a B2B business. Let's say you have we did this example already. Like you have a fitness training thing going on, and people are paying you 200 euro per month, and they usually stay around for 6 months. So you have a customer lifetime value of 1,200 euro. You don't need them to check out online. You can talk to them on the phone. You can do a presentation. You can do a free training session because you have a high customer lifetime value. On the other hand, if you're a B2B business selling a software as a service for 9 euro per month, you can't have anybody on the phone. You can barely afford customer support. So I don't think about B2B, B2C. I think about high customer lifetime value. And yes, this is where lead scoring is the best. Low customer lifetime value, and it's simple overkill. With low customer lifetime value, you just want to go straight for the sale. It works or it doesn't. There are enough customers to be had otherwise. Yeah, so that's my opinion on that. Cool. So does it make sense to use multiple scores? I get that in practice quite often. Yeah, should we have a product fit score and should we have an interest score? And yes, it is absolutely valid to, for example, keep those two separate and not to put them into a single score. As you saw, I have 5 scores that I track, but I have one main lead score, which is the one where I do all the automations through. But in sales, I like to look at the other ones. I like to look at their event activity separate from their other email activity. I want to really get a feeling, where did the lead score come from? And I can see that if I have multiple scores. So I'm a fan. I would just start with 1 score. 5 more questions. Keep on adding them. How often do you recommend to review the lead scoring system? Yes, in the beginning, definitely more frequent. I decide on a scale. I usually end up deciding on the 0 to 100 scale for customer and the beyond 100 for customer loyalty, from lead to customer, customer to customer loyalty. As long as people start, as long as people are really well spread, and that the number 80 correlates really with a high quality lead and a low score 20 with a low quality leads, then I'm fine and I'm not changing anything. This is where I want to talk to my salespeople. Lead scoring is usually managed by the marketing folks. And I want to regularly talk to the salespeople, and I want to observe after people have become customers and maybe have stayed customers for several months. How did the lead score predict that success? And that is at the end the system that you want, a predictive system that scores the lead based on behavior very early in the customer journey. We actually did a meetup with the guys from Quintly about that, with Alex and Frederick Peininger, 2 founder friends here from Cologne. And in that meetup, we talked about predictive modeling and machine learning and how you can use that behavior and the sales information you have over time. And I think this is like the most awesome way to implement lead scoring. What I showed you today is the typical way to do it. It's automated, but it's not predictive yet. Yeah, but we want to get there. Cool. Should the score only reflect probability that a lead becomes a customer? Why not the worth of the potential customer? Awesome. That is excellent. At the end, I think it should predict customer lifetime value, and which is the worth of the potential customer. Probability times customer lifetime value. That would be the perfect lead score for me. So definitely it's a yes, but on both. It's not an either or. Next, how am I going to measure the return effectively? What do you mean by return? How am I going to measure the return effectively? If you mean like return of investment, or do you mean the return on the effort of creating this, creating the lead score system? Let me skip that question. If you want to, you can just repeat it again in a way that I understand it a bit better. Next question is, could you please give an example of a lead from a simple list to a 75% score, like a walkthrough of a customer and how he's contacted. And how he interacts. Perfect. Okay, a concrete example from the pirate skills world is a person sees my videos on YouTube. Maybe lands on the website, he gets retargeted on Facebook and Instagram, sees that I have an event coming up. He visits the event page and already gets a couple of points, let's say 3 points for visiting the event page. Now this person registers an Eventbrite ticket and therefore gets another 20 points, and now is at 23. So then this person, this lead is now in the database if they want to. If they choose not to, they're not saved. But let's say they are inside. Now they get an email with the reminders of the meetup, and they open the meetup and they actually click on the meetup to get some more information or to maybe download the slides after the meetup. That gives them another 10 points, which lands them at 33. So now this person really thinks this meetup was awesome. They have a problem that they think I can help them to work together. They see another retargeting ad and they go to my workshop landing page. That earns them another 7 points, so we got them at 40. Now he scrolls down and he schedules a call with me. They are interested, they want to talk about if the workshops and the coaching program is a good fit. And just by getting in touch to get that appointment, they get another 30 to 40 points, depending on the product that they are mainly interested in. And now they end up at 60 to 70. So an extreme high probability of them to convert compared to anybody who didn't do those steps. Yeah. And if you even go one step back, the probability is a lot lower, especially if you consider like that there could be 100 people who went through this kind of journey. So that would be a concrete example. So in this case, they actually approached me. They contacted me through the landing page. I can maybe even try to show you how this would work. Let's risk that. So this is the Pirate Skills landing page. And people are scrolling down, usually end up through here, through the navigation. You watch the video, you see this, and now you schedule a call. Yeah, or you download a PDF overview, you send me a message. That earns you a lot of points, because here there are prices, they're very transparent. I don't like hiding my prices. It's just a point of view of mine. Please, you don't have to copy that at all. I just want people to know what they're getting into. And then they can schedule a call through Calendly. So that is one approach. But let's say they just sent me a message and nothing happened after a while, or this call bounced. Then they will still be in my CRM, and I will contact that person after a certain number of times through email, through LinkedIn, or through the phone. Or my business partner, Matti, will do that. So I always prefer the inbound version, of course, as anybody would. People getting in touch with me. But when I see that there's a good fit and I would really love to work with them, I will definitely hunt them in a good way. Yeah, and try to work with them proactively. So how much money should I spend on a solid CRM? It very, very much depends on the number of leads that you have in your system. And that very often decides which CRM you can choose. But let's stay reasonable with 1,000 people in your list, or we can reasonably say in the next year you will get 1,000 people into your lead pipeline. Yeah, so that is my growth, like about 1,000 people per year is my CRM growth. So the money I spend at the moment for 3,000 people is about 140 euro per month. And I think even in the beginning, being willing to pay 50 to 100 euro for the CRM, especially in B2B, where every single person that you close is going to pay for the CRM for the next couple of years. Yeah, you should just not make the price point a big thing. Yeah, so 50 to 100 euro is a good starting point. You get most CRMs at this point. Just surf around. Definitely take a look at ActiveCampaign for that, and yeah, that's what you should spend on it. Okay, so let's tackle the next question. Do you handle your deals as well in ActiveCampaign, or do you use another software suite for that? No, I love the deal flow and pipeline in ActiveCampaign. That's one of the major reasons why I respect them so much. They understand email automation and sales, and usually those suites can only do one thing good. They even have management for multiple salespeople, where you need to do like a round robin system where the incoming leads that get a 75 score and now get sent to the salespeople gets first to salesperson A, B, C, and then around again and around. So I try to have everything in ActiveCampaign. For example, if you don't want to do that, if you go for a MailChimp for email and a Pipedrive for your CRM, wonderful, works as well. Okay, the last question. in how far do you let leads know how high their score is? If they ask me, I tell them. Yeah, you can write me a message or send me a comment and ask me like, hey Ben, what's my lead score? I will tell you. Yeah. But there's usually no reason to talk about it. It's a number. It's a practical but fictional system, and I don't have discussion points there. During the workshop I did before this meetup, I actually discussed with 2 customers their lead score. It was 145 for both of them. Yeah, so that was fun to see that this actually works, that customers have a score beyond 100. So let me just answer this last question, how I understand it. How am I going to measure the return effectively? I'm going to decide to answer this. What if a customer really becomes a customer? How do I know that the that the lead score matches the deal size and the return in the sense of revenue? Usually I create a deal for the leads in after they reach a certain lead score. Let's say they reach a 60, I create a deal, they're interested in the workshop, and there is a value, 3,000 euro, attached to that deal. If that deal goes through, I now know that at least in one case, with a lead score of such and such, they are X%, they have X% probability to have a revenue of 3,000 euro. Yeah. And you can even, I've seen lead systems that are trying to predict money, that are not going for this percentage thing, but for actual euros and dollars, which I thought was really fun. So attach a deal to a lead, see how that lead deal actually converts to revenue, and your salespeople or yourself, you're going to handle that deal in the same system preferably. And then you will very quickly, like after 10 sales, see if your lead scores have anything to do with the revenue that comes out at the end. All right, awesome. So thank you all for your feedback, for the poll that you showed me. 7 people voted. We got a score on an average of 4.6. Thank you very much. If you did any suggestions, thank you for that too. But feel free to also send me a message so I can learn more about what we can do better next time. Speaking of next time, on August 19th, in 2 weeks exactly, we're gonna have the next meetup, and I don't know how many times I wanted to take the time to really explain what Google Tag Manager is about and how it helps me in tracking. It is more advanced analytics topic, but I think understanding the Tag Manager is so freeing. The Tag Manager is a tool where you can put all of your analytics pixels inside Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, and you do not need a developer to add more pixels or to specify the events that are being fired, so your conversion tracking works better. It's incredibly freeing for marketers that have a slow development pipeline. Yeah, and you actually should have a slow development pipeline. Developers should be busy with building features and fixing bugs, and as little as possible with the marketing stuff, even though they need to do some of it. Tag Manager is incredibly freeing. And I really want this meetup to be the go-to resource for me. Oh yeah, by the way, we talked about this in the Tracking with Tag Manager meetup. So go to getpirateskits.com/google-tag-manager and get a free ticket. And I see you in the next live stream. Yeah. And if you watch this on YouTube later, maybe the video is already up. Check it out. I'm going to link it up here. Cool. So, as always, we try with Pirate Skills to give you an overview and in-depth how-to knowledge of 6 skills that I think everybody needs in growth marketing. I think at the top here, everybody needs to understand how to build a proper growth roadmap, how to set goals, and how to experiment your way towards your goals. Then content marketing and storytelling and funnel building. Today, we talked about one key component in funnel building, which is marketing automation and lead scoring. Next time, we're going to talk about an analytics topic with Google Tag Manager in focus. And then after that, we talk about traffic generation, and we are very likely going to talk about LinkedIn ads, something I've been looking forward to talking about for a long time. And then again, we talk about conversion rate optimization in the context of B2B leads. Yeah, and then we start a whole new case study, and I'm looking for case studies right now in the B2B segment. We are doing a round robin with the MONDAY.ROCKS case study, which is a heavy B2B focused thing. And I want an app or a B2C e-commerce thing. Come with me, send me a message with case studies that you would like to hear about, or be the case study yourself. That would be awesome. If you want to be the case study yourself, you should be not in idea stage. You should want to grow from 1 sale a day to 100 sales a day. Yeah, so that's the perfect stage. So, and if you just want to catch up and really get a solid education on this, we got a workshop series. Just check out the landing page I shared with you in a couple of minutes ago. It's at growth.pirateskills.com. And I would love to see you in the workshops. Otherwise, if you got anything out of this, leave a sub and a like on our YouTube. That would be awesome. And we're going to hang out in the Discord community in a couple of minutes. When we clean up here, I go to one of the voice channels, which is called Livestream in the Discord. You can already go there and you can talk with each other. And I'm going to be there at least for a couple of minutes to answer some questions and just hang out. So join us at get.pirateskills.com/Discord. That's it for today. Thank you very much, everybody, for showing up, for learning about scoring leads like a pirate. Bye-bye, everybody.